Moving on to lesson 9.2, and this one is called Fractions and Mixed Numbers as Quotients. And we actually have done this already when we did just straight long division. So it's a matter of taking my quotient, and if there's a remainder, I'm turning my remainder into a fraction. So for the solve and share, this is lesson 9.2. It says Jonah has an 8-pound bag of potting soil. He divides it evenly among 5 flower pots. And they want to know how much soil is in each pot. Show your answer as a fraction or a mixed number. Solve this problem any way you choose. And they tell us that we can model with math. You can write an equation or draw a picture to help find the answer. So I'm starting with what I already know, and I know that he has 8 pounds of potting soil, and he wants to split it between those 5 flower pots. So the first thing I can think about if I'm going to use a picture to model this math, I can actually think about going and putting 1 pound into each of the flower pots first. So from that 8, I know I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I've already used. So I would say 8 minus 5 gives me, I have 3 left. So far, each of these flower pots is getting 1 pound. The 3 that I have left, I would need to still divide some way. So I need to think about how much I can put into each of those pots so that I'm using up that last 3 pounds that I have. Obviously, I can't put a pound in each one because I don't have enough. That would be 5 pounds left. So when I'm looking at this problem, my equation obviously would be 8 pounds divided by 5 pots. So when I do the actual division problem, this is where I'm going to turn my quotient into a fraction. So we said that 8 divided by 5, I can do 5 times 1, gave me 5, that's that part. My 8 minus 5, I had 3 left. The easiest way to do this now, instead of trying to figure out what goes into each one, is I can look at it and I can say, I have 3 pounds left and I have 5 that I need to split it between. I'm going to take my remainder 3 and put it up top as my numerator, and my 5 is going to be my denominator. So my divisor becomes my denominator, my remainder becomes my numerator. So that means that each of these gets 3/5. So if we go back and we look at what I did first, here's my 3 that was left over. That was my remainder portion. That's my numerator. And then how many pots am I dividing it between? That's my denominator. That's where my 3/5 came. And if I look at it now and I say, you know what, I want to check to make sure that it's correct. Remember, I can do multiplication. So I would be able to do 1 3/5 times 5. Or I can do, because remember it's just repeated addition, I can do 1 3/5 plus 1 3/5 plus 1 3/5 plus 1 3/5 plus 1 3/5. So again, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 fifths, and we know that 15 over 5 means that I have how many 5s in 15? 3. So this is whole number 3, and 5 plus 3 brings me back to my 8. If I want to look at it in terms of the multiplication problem, 1 times 5 is 5. If I put a 1 down here, 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 1 is 5. And it gives me that same 15 over 5, which turns into 3 wholes. Either way you can use to solve the problem, but if we are just doing the straight division, again, you have to just remember I'm taking from my division problem, my remainder is turning into my numerator of my fraction, my divisor is turning into my denominator. Okay, so we're going to move on to the look back, and they said, now in the look back, suppose one of the pots breaks. So now, so that'll be our broken pot right there. So now Jonah only has 4 pots to work with. So obviously we're not going to be able to have 1 3/5 anymore, because it's not going to equal 8 if we do times 4. And they said now 4 pots, but we're using the same amount of soil. So he started with 8 pounds. He's dividing that by 4 pots. 8 divided by 4. So 8 divided by 4, no fraction necessary. 8 divided by 4 is 2, which means I can put 2 pounds into each of the pots. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, or 2 times 4 gives me my 8. That was the solve and share and the look back for lesson 9-2. And we're gonna actually go right into now the visual learning. So if you have not watched the visual learning, please make sure that you go into Pearson Realize and you watch that. I'm going to jump down to the convince me on the bottom, and you can see these problems on the slides as well. So please make sure you open the Google Slides. The convince me says Kate shares a 64-ounce bottle of apple cider with 5 friends. So remember, 64-ounce bottle, she's sharing with 5 friends. So we're not dividing by 5, because we have to remember Kate is a friend too. So Kate and her 5 friends means we're dividing by 6. So 64 divided by 6, or 64 divided by 6. And remember, we can also write it as 64 divided by 6. So any of those would be acceptable in order to solve this problem. So if I'm doing this, I'm just thinking about how many 6s are in the 64. And they actually don't want to know an exact answer for this problem. They just want to know, they said, between what 2 whole numbers will each person's serving be? So I'm really thinking about this number, 6, in the problem, and I'm gonna think to myself, 6 times what is gonna bring me close to 64? So I know that 6 times 10 is 60. 60 is a little bit too low, but it's close. And I know that 6 times 11 is 66. 66 is close, but it's too high. So when they ask me between what 2 numbers my quotient, my answer is going to fall between, I'm going to say my answer is going to fall between 10 and 11. How do I know that? Because this dividend of 64 falls between my 60 and my 66. So if I actually went and solved the problem for an exact answer, even though they didn't ask me to do that, I know that 6 times 1 is 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. My 4 comes down. And remember, I can't just say 4 over 6 is my remainder, because I'm not finished here yet, because 6 times 1 is not 60. So I also need to put my 0 there to say 6 times nothing gives me 4. And then now I can say I have a remainder of 4. I'm going to turn it all into a fraction. So remember, 4, my remainder, is going to be my numerator. 6, my divisor, is going to be my denominator. And I end up with an answer of 10 and 4/6, or, because remember I can simplify that down, if I divide the numerator and the denominator by 2, I'm going to have 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So the exact answer is 10 and 2/3 ounces per friend, which again falls between 10 and 11. Okay, that was an answer, again, that they were not looking for the exact answer. They were just looking for a range or a between, but that was the correct final answer for the convince me. Okay, I'm gonna go into the guided practice on the next page.